All right. Hello and welcome to the Holy Hour podcast. It's the bi-weekly All Cure podcast. And I'm Gavin. And today I am joined by Antonio and Chaz. Hello, fellas.
Hello.
All together again.
The gang is back.
Well, yeah. Well, welcome, guys, and welcome, listeners. And welcome to the 300th episode of the Holy Hour podcast. I'm not being
tricky. I wish I had one of those little pop things.
Yeah, I'll add in some sound effects or something. But yeah, even though it says episode 279, when re-uploading 50 plus episodes, I realized that there was 21 episodes of tour episodes that I did not count. So this is the 300th episode, going on the 10th year anniversary this summer too. So wow, that's a lot of episodes of Cure Talk. Yeah. So thanks for hanging in there with all of us. And
congratulations, Gavin.
Well, thanks. You guys,
old bag, you.
I'd be really losing my mind at this point if it was just lonely old me here babbling in the dark. So thank you guys.
It would be like some video game of a post-apocalyptic world, and you're the last person living on a mountain. Like, all you have is one little radio, and you think you're talking to people, but there's no one there to listen to.
Like, and then at one time I saw the kid. Like, this dude is gone.
I saw all bear today.
Totally. Strong possibility that'll happen someday, but until then, we don't want to make too big of a deal of it. Big deal, 300 episodes. But so we figured a good way would be to continue on Chaz's thought from the Head on the Door anniversary of finally ranking all these Cure albums, since that's a pretty epic thing to do, and this is an epic episode, so why not? Let's bundle it all together and rank these albums, because it's something that we've kind of resisted. I don't know how conscious it was, but we definitely didn't want to jump on like most people, where they were like a week after Songs of a Lost World came out, everybody was like, all right, here's the official ranking of Cure. It's like, dude, it's been out a week. Come on, you can't. It was kind of nice to try to see where it would fit in the grand scheme of things. But at the same time, we're even closing in on a year since that album's come out. So we're kind of like, all right, maybe now we can finally get its place in the world. And and it is kind of the generic YouTube video idea of ranking Cure albums, and then they just rank them and then they're done talking about the Cure for move on to the next band. So it's kind of stupid, but at the same time, when you're on your 300th episode, maybe we should just finally do it. And we didn't want to just
fucking time.
Yeah, right?
For 500.
Yeah, because our opinion means so much at this point, So we thought it'd be fun. We'll treat it like a good scientific experiment. That was Chaz's point, right? Where you're saying, well, we can't just pull this out of our ass and say, oh yeah, today, because we all know deep inside, all Cure fans, your opinion, and even though we're doing this, our opinion will probably change by tomorrow. Day to day, your favorite Cure album is whatever mood you're in, and maybe not your absolute favorite, but that middle section always changes around a lot. So but yeah, you said you thought it would be smart if we came up with some like criteria or a scale or a rubric of points. Let's have this based on something instead of just pulling these albums however we're feeling today. So great idea. So we came up with a whole list of criteria we'll go over in a minute to see what we ranked them on. Of course, everybody out there is going to have different stuff that they would rank it on. Most of them, could be anything from what guitar Robert used to whatever the hell, but we tried to pick, what
high his hair was.
Yeah, exactly. If that really influenced the sound of the album or not. So yeah, we thought that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts from you guys of this whole process before diving into what we picked for the criteria?
Did you guys, before we start, do a Control album to this?
Not a different band. Okay. So yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking when we get into like ours too. Like I said, everybody's is going to be a little different, even with our set criteria we came up with, you know, which further proves that all stats and polls are bullshit to a certain degree, you know. Yeah, like you had a Control separate band album, right, Chaz? You said,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And I did it kind of just all based on other Cure albums. Like I said, I knew Disintegration, spoiler alert, was going to be my ultimate Cure album, so I kind of based everything off of that. And I guess, you know, we'll keep all this in because it is the criteria. We chose it as 10 categories and 10 points for each one, because mostly I'm terrible at math and it's easier that way if we had 100% to choose from. So we got 10 categories, 10 possible points, 10 being like the ultimate perfect. But then my variation would have been, I didn't treat it like a school grading scale where 50 would be failing necessarily, but I chose it more as like 50 would be average, like the middle, like if you were doing a poll. So like this was average Cure, like them not exactly at their absolute best, but at the same time pretty good. So I got a few that are hanging around the 50 range that aren't necessarily a dig or anything. We have it kind of programmed into our head that that's failing.
I think you got to look at it like a movie review. Like if you get those aggregate scores, like 50% is kind of like you might like it or you might hate it. So it's kind of like that middle ground, or it's just kind of like warm soup. Where you're just kind of like,
Yeah. Is that kind of the approach you guys took then? Or did you go?
Kind of, but I think I was a little more, I think I ended up a little more critical than I thought I was going to be.
Me too. That's why I'm throwing all these disclaimers.
I'm just saying, like, because especially when, well, we didn't discuss the topics yet, but as you explain the topics, and I'll just explain, like, you know, why some like shot closer one way for me or the other. But I was like, man, I'm fucking being really hard on them. like I kind of felt guilty after this.
Yeah. And I guess the side note too is
I was trying to remove emotions and just be an asshole.
And I guess a side note too would be, I don't know if you guys did this too, and that's why good that you chose a separate band as your kind of Control, Chaz, because I just kind of took the idea too that I'm comparing all Cure albums, like just because I give this one a 30 as a final score or something, I'd still probably choose that Cure album over like 90% of other bands' best album, you know. So that's worth noting, I think, out there that
yeah.
All right, so like we said, 10 categories, a rating of 1 through 10. The first category we had was re-listenability, which Chaz kicked off initially, and I was gonna add just listenability, but that kind of fit into a different category too. So this is kind of the idea that, does this album invite repeat listens? Are you finding new things every time you listen to it? And does it stay interesting? So how much does it have that draw of, like, when it's over, you know, whether it's immediate or just coming back to it next week or something, listening to it? Because
and this was a little bit of a tough category, because if I take an album like Faith, I that's a really tough re-listen.
Yeah,
but
especially
at the same
immediately
time,
after.
At the same time, it's like I can listen to that all the way through, and it's you know, it's pretty much perfect. But as far as like the re-listenability, it's pretty fucking dark, unless you're in like a dark spot. I don't know how much I could do it twice in a row. So that was an interesting category.
Yeah. And I kind of treated it as like, like I was saying, not immediately after, but just over the years, even re-listening. So hopefully that kind of fits too. So yeah. We also just want to do production in general. Is the mixing and mastering clear and balanced? Are the production choices, use of effects, layers, transitions, and instrument tones enhancing the songs, or is there some misses there? So just general production choices. And then we had cohesion and flow. So this kind of went with the listenability, just straight up listenability. So I thought it fit better under how well does the album flow from track to track. So that would be like the sequencing and such too. Just the theme of the album. Is it consistent? Is there a narrative arc through the whole album? Are the transitions smooth? Are they jarring from track to track? And then also in this category would be like album length. Is it appropriate or not enough? So, because there's a couple that kind of lose points there, I think, because they start to just fall apart by the end. Not naming any names yet.
I did like the addition of that one.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's got to be in somewhere in here.
Yeah, because there's a few that just... And a lot of these are strange just because the Cure's so good at it sometimes, but then certain moments they're just like, how did they miss that bad on that mark when they're perfect at like the cohesive album at earlier parts in their career?
So the next one we have is songwriting. So we have, are the lyrics original, compelling? Do they hit with you emotionally? So like, I thought that was a good one because we have something like Friday I'm in Love compared to, I don't know, 100 years.
Yeah.
It's like, is the song structure, the verses, the chorus, and the bridge is engaging and varied? Are the melodies memorable and well crafted? So I know we had the Julies on, and they were able to just pull some of their favorite lyrics like out of nowhere, which was amazing. Where you're just like, something for every emotion. The next category we have is originality and creativity. Does it bring something fresh to its genre? Are they unique musical or lyrical elements? And does it show artistic risk taking? So I like that one a lot.
Yeah, because do you have safe Cure when they're kind of playing it safe, or is he in his... What he does so well too is shift gears and try something different.
Yeah,
for better or worse sometimes.
Yeah, and I had to take that into account, like better or worse. Like, is he taking risks? And I can admire that,
right?
Even though I don't like it.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll finish my part off with the emotional or personal impact. So, does the album leave a lasting impression? And this is kind of subjective though. It's
so everyone's will vary.
Yeah. So this one isn't as, pinpoint accurate. So it depends because some people, 2000, the self-titled hit them when they first started getting into the Cure, where, someone like us were just like,
exactly. We've heard that so many times of like, well, that was the first album that came out as a fan. So it means a lot to me, even if you don't, and I was like, oh yeah. So that totally makes sense, or just whatever's happening in your life that coincides with that album. So, cool.
Artwork. Does it look cool?
Yeah.
And artistically, is it rad? Do you want it on a t-shirt? Does the cover capture the vibe of the songs? I thought that was an interesting one. I was like, I don't think I ever thought about it that way. I'm like, that's why I like that.
Because it could just be a cool picture, but it's like, what the fuck does this have to do with the album?
Yeah. And then next category, this is, one that we mentioned this stuff all the time: opening and closing tracks. Opening and closing tracks provide strong intro / ending hook the listener. Like, we talk about this all the time, that we love how the Cure is very specific on their opening and closing tracks. And even Robert has talked about it, like how it's so important. He needs an opening track and a closing track, and then he can write the rest of the album. So we already know that that's something that he literally uses as a basis for putting an album together. So I think it was an important thing for us to have in here.
I just want to say, as like East Coasters and like Northeasterners, Antonio and I, we know that a hoagie is only as good as the bread it's on.
Right. Exactly.
So if you got shitty bread, you're going to have a shitty sandwich. So you need that first and bottom layer to be
solid.
Yeah. So that's why this is included in here. And some of you might, it doesn't, like, that's not the whole album, but I was like, that's so important. Like, if you're going to get hooked and you want to go back into it to re-listen again, you got to have that top piece of bread and the bottom piece of bread be the best that you can get it.
Yeah.
So,
and then this one, band lineup. Does the lineup add to the songs? Was everyone utilized to their full abilities? And are the songs tight and capture the best version of the song? So that was definitely an interesting one, because we have talked hypothetical, like what if this person, played drums on this one? We've gone there. So
yeah, it's a tough one too, because I've never been like, oh no, Simon's kind of slacking on this album.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they're
exactly.
all great, and they always even Lowell plays his ass off on that, like whatever it is. But it's
I mean, it's primarily you're looking at drums and lead guitar for the most part in most of these.
So it's kind of like,
and
like just throwing in the line of used to their full potential, so that you have was Lowell really playing to his full potential?
Could have done more there, Lowell. Come on,
I know.
More or less
compete
those
on
paradiddles, bro.
parts.
The paradiddles.
Yeah, so who knows?
But like when that comes down to disintegration, I'm like, is this a slight? Like this?
True. I almost figured he didn't even count on that one. I would just
that's what I was feeling.
I feel like he just stood in the corner of the room with it, like staring at the wall.
I think it was the writing was pretty much in permanent marker on the wall there.
Yeah.
By that point. But,
and then to end it off, legacy. Has it aged well? Has it influenced other bands? Hold up well with other albums in the back catalog? Dun, dun, dun.
So there we go, our 10 categories. Hope you guys agree with that. And it's a lot to sort through, and I know it'll be hard for the listener to kind of remember those categories, so we'll try to bring them up a bit, but not really dwell on every specific score on them. But let's dive in so we can try to squeeze all these in here without it's being 8 hours long. So who wants to go first?
Well, I want to do my test subject first.
Okay. Well, why don't you kick that off, and then you can go into yours, and we'll do that. So yeah, what was your Control album you based it on?
So I used Dinosaur Jr.'s Where You Been, which is my favorite album of theirs. Green Mind is really, really, really close to it. Yeah. But so to break this down, I did re-listenability at an 8 because there's songs on there that I don't necessarily really like. So I would want to skip them. So I can't fully put that at a 10. Production 9.5. Cohesion and flow 8.5, just because of the way that those songs kind of interrupt the flow of the album. But songwriting and lyrics, I put it at a 10, and original and creativity at a 10, emotional personal impact at a 9, artwork at a 10. I think it's phenomenal. Opening closing tracks, next to The Cure, I think those are two of the best. Like, that album has two of the best opening and closing tracks on any album I've ever heard. Band lineup, Missing Lou, so it's at an 8, so it takes a ding. And Legacy at a 9, so overall at a 92%. So I was like, okay, that's probably where I'd put it, just because of those songs and Lou missing off the album. So I was
near
like, okay,
perfect with a few little minuses there. So solid A plus.
yeah, seriously, yeah. Cool. Or A minus.
Where is it at? So.
Yeah. So, but yes. So as I went into The Cure, we did Three Imaginary Boys.
And so that was the other big debate was we're gonna just do Three Imaginary Boys, the original UK kind of release, even though I think our hearts are all with Boys Don't Cry on the US version. So I knew that would even make it tougher, because it's gonna be a pretty huge difference, I think, on all our list of where Boys Don't Cry would fit versus where Three Imaginary Boys. But Three Imaginary Boys is technically the original debut, so let's go with that. So
Three Imaginary Boys I had at 57.5, and I want to call out the artwork. I had that at probably the highest out of everything on here. Of course, I don't think it's as good as Boys Don't Cry, but I think it's up there. And then my least favorite part of this album is the songwriting. I think there's a lot of good stuff on here, but I think that there's a lot of dog shit on here. Yeah. And definitely as you go to Cure lyrics, it doesn't match up to what they're going to be going on to. So I had songwriting at a 3. So that was kind of, I know that was kind of a rough score, but I don't know what you guys felt.
It's funny how it'll vary. Okay. What do you think, Antonio? Do you have your stats pulled up?
Yeah, I was definitely, like I said, I was way more critical. Again, this is not a slight to the album. This is just, also I'm looking at these not only as a fan of the music, but as a musician, and I know I am overly critical when it comes to like sounds and artwork and mixing, and I can be a real dick about it. So I have it a lot at a 36.
I knew it was gonna be fucking low. Like,
yeah, but without spoiling anything, I could. Boys Don't Cry, gigantic difference.
Yeah.
So just
Me
spoiler
too.
alert there. I mean, this is not me shitting on this album. This is not me shitting on these songs. But again, when you look at it compared to just a little bit of a mix up, switch up on the next one, it's night and day. So I've had to be more critical. And yeah, I think artwork it's like high point for me. And then its low point for me, I think, is Legacy, because although it's number one, just by adding those other songs that became beyond iconic, it took it from one level to a next. So it's like, if I'm pulling, I've got them both on vinyl, but if I'm pulling them out, I'm almost never pulling out Three Imaginary Boys. I'm always pulling out Boys Don't Cry.
Yeah.
So I couldn't say that how much of a legacy it was when a slight change up makes it jump drastically, and I don't pick the other one up very, very, very seldomly. So, and again, I'm going to be hyperly critical of my favorite band. And I'm going to be a little bit harder because it's emotional for me. But you're right. I would still listen to Three Imaginary Boys over any Oasis album. So, and I chose that just because I'm tired of the internet shoving them in my face. I'm not
and I do like the fact that we have like somebody like me that's not a musician or anything.
Yeah, we're getting different points of view. 100%.
Yeah.
And this is what'll be good if that we can average these all together and get like three different minds versions of that together.
And for the listener, this isn't the lowest one. We're just going in chronological order of Cure albums. Then we'll say where they fit in our, if you're not jotting down the actual score, which I'm assuming nobody is. But, so we'll put it all together at the end of what our lists are. But first Cure album. And it's funny because I kind of cut the difference between both of you guys. I think on this one where my score was higher than Antonio's and closer to Chaz's at 50%. But my individual score rankings, I chose different stuff. Like songwriting was one of two highest ones I gave it, just because I really did think for a first album and the songwriting, even though, and that's the problem with this album. And my lowest was re-listenability, because it's just that middle section where it turns into total dog shit, where it's What, Meat Hook, and Foxy Lady, I think are all in a row. Yeah. I meant to grab the album to have it here, but I don't even have it in this room. I have a tape version of Boys Don't Cry, so that tells you right there, like what you were saying. We just always grab Boys Don't Cry. I'll listen to that all day through and through, because those singles just make it like, oh, cool. Yeah, and you can put up with more Meat Hook and whatever when you have songs
because
jumping
then
someone
it's
else's
just,
trade to be like shit.
Again, going back to the sandwich part of things, you just get to the middle and like, okay, so that piece of lettuce wasn't perfectly crisp, but it's fine because there's like good cheese on one side and good meat on the other.
And even slimy as fuck.
And even that could go two ways, because my second highest score for it was closing track, and opener was like opener, and then I gave it like a 7, but I had to put a little asterisk next to, because I like the song Three Imaginary Boys a lot, but it's technically Weedy Burton on that, but I was treating that kind of like as a hidden track more than because I like Three Imaginary Boys a lot. But lowest just being re-listenability, legacy, like you're saying, and flow, because that middle section. Production, I wanted to, like you're saying, production is kind of shitty, but it's kind of meant to be, since they're going for that post-punk, just them in the it's their first
also
album,
I was putting it up against other like records at that time. I mean, when you think about like the Clash, that clearly was very influential to them on this record, those albums were a little bit produced better, but there was also a shit ton of money behind those albums, more than probably the budget on this record was probably nowhere near close to what everyone else was getting, but on that budget, I think it probably was a pretty goddamn good recording for what they paid for it,
for them not knowing anything
in
and
that
Chris
time,
Perry doing the
exactly. So I would love to hear stuff that came out of that studio around that same year and compare it. Like that would be like the massive comparison. But
so 17 seconds, I have at a 71.5.
Okay.
So I have, let's see.
I like that you got the 0.5s going. I just went total easy with
it. You know, it's funny. I had a couple where I did do 0.5s on them, but anyone that I did, there was more than 1.5, so it just balanced out to an even number anyway. And I was like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you did 2.5s in the cool. So 71.
So my high point here, I have Legacy at an 8.
Okay.
I think that it's I don't know.
Yeah, like just because they reference back to the start of the Cure or whatever.
Yeah. But the worst part of this album, I think, is the opening and closing tracks.
Yeah.
Compared to other Cure albums, they're pretty they're not good. Like, it's not even you have a good piece of bread on top. It's I get it what they're going for, like, with it, but it's not. It doesn't work.
You could almost not even count those, because they're just like little interludes or whatever,
So
okay, And high point. What was the highest ranking?
The highest point was Legacy. Okay. So, but I'm sure you guys are more critical on this one than I am.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. What do you got, Antonio?
I actually got a 61. This got a 61 for me. I was, I've never shit on this album, but I think mentally, without looking at the rankings, I definitely had it lower. I assumed it would have been lower. So this was one of my like mega surprises. I was like, wow, yeah, like I really like when you really do look at it. And low points for me was definitely opening and closing tracks. Like this is the one album I think I think out of all their albums, I think this is the worst opening and closing tracks possibly. But again, everything else in between is great. And my high points, for ties was Legacy, and I think originality and creativity. I think this record really took a step away, from feeling like super like they were going to go in one of two directions: the direction they went in, or more punky, clashy. You know what I mean? It was definitely all right. Our jumping point was here, and now we've creatively had the balls to twist it a little bit and just go and start really becoming them. So those were kind of tied on those high
after
points.
This album, they could have gone back to the Three Imaginary Boys sound a bit more.
Exactly. So you kind of took a step in the other direction, and was that continuous, or did you just run out of writing? So this was a scramble writing, but I think it was really more of finding their feet. And I think it's it's an important record for that, because then we've got, the mega, Legacy stuff coming up, but you had to step out of that room to get closer to the other. So.
Yeah. All right. And again, I cut the difference between you guys and got a 66 for this one.
Okay.
So yeah, it was kind of, looking at the highs and lows. I think because I gave it kind of a high opening and closing track 7, but I think I was not even counting the interlude. I was just starting with
because it's technically. I'm like, he doesn't even sing on this, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't even count those, but I was counting it like tape to open or something like that, where it was kind of just a nice little. But on top of that, Legacy is also the highest one, because a lot of people do reference this as being a huge, inspiration as a musician and stuff, and then songwriting again.
I mean, it's Melissa's favorite Cure record.
Yeah, a lot of people really love it, and I think the writing is there. That's why I gave that the highest, because I'm not. Yeah,
my writing actually. You know what? Now that you say that, that's also tied for the Legacy and the other ones. With me. I had While
it gets better, it is one that I've even caught crap in the past before of just saying it's kind of a flat album, even though I like the production sounds. It's just it doesn't really blast out the way I almost kind of feel like a lot of those songs live are better. So
I can see that.
Weird, where it's just kind
production
of
was a little bit lower for me too on this one.
And Mike Hedges is awesome, and I like all the tones, but it's just something about the just the dynamicness of the record, where I don't really feel like it pops the way a lot of the Cure ones do. But
it was my second lowest.
Disagree, so.
Yeah, no, that was my second lowest. So,
and I always kind of put it at the bottom of the greats. It's still in the great bracket, but I always put it, it's like the Lance Mountain of the Bones Brigade or something.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's an amazing reference.
Damn.
Poor Lance. We're sorry, Lance, if you're listening.
And I love Lance Mountain. So everyone loves it. But all right, so what do we got next? We got a little bit of Faith.
We have faith.
I guess I'll kick it off if we want to keep rotating around. I got 79 for Faith. Wow. So it's itching up there, but even sounds lower than I want it to be. But let's see. As far as the numbers, let's see. I got a lot of high numbers though. Production, I got a 9. I love the way that sounds, even though it's just like in a giant cave of echo, but I love it. Re-listenability, I went with an 8 even, just because I feel like maybe not immediately going back to that idea, but I always, any kind of just somber mood, that's up there for me. I think those are the only real standouts, but all pretty high. What did you guys get?
I got an 87.5.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, damn.
Pretty high up there. My emotional and personal impact is a 10, along with band lineup.
Okay.
So I think the 3-piece that they got going on right now is perfect for what they're doing. It's not necessarily the perfect band lineup, because I think that's like Head on the Door era, but I think for what they're going for in this era, I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
So I give them a 10 on that. And then my lowest is probably re-listenability. Just because it's as much as it has a personal and emotional impact on me, it's tough to get through more than once in a
good chunk of time.
Yeah, good chunk of time.
It needs some recovery time after that.
Yeah, I absolutely fucking love that album, but it's re-listenability is a little rough for me anyway. So, but 87.5.
Right.
All right. So for me, this was interesting because this one was actually the only one that I had tying scores.
Okay.
Which makes my ranking difficult. But this actually, and it's perfect timing here, I have it at a 61, ranked the same as 17 Seconds.
Okay.
So I think the highs for me were cohesion and flow. I mean, this album 100% feels like all these songs belong together. Yeah. It has that same feel, although that feel is dark and melancholy. It stays with it, and right. And I appreciate that ride, because later in their career there was a lot of like, all of a sudden in the middle of something you'll have this crazy like high or happy point, and then it goes back down roller coaster wise. But this is just you're getting on that fucking train and it's going, and like, and
even like the one slight attempt almost is doubt, and that's just punkier, so it's still kind
so
of
it's
angrier,
still emotional in a dark way. Yeah, for sure.
So.
And then I think the lows for me, it didn't have as much of an emotional impact on me, because I think it's also a record that I didn't gravitate more and more to until later in my Cure fandom, so it just didn't, because me kind of discovering them and getting into them came from the another era of it. So I think that's why it's there. Had I gotten this record at like earlier in my life, maybe, but so that's like kind of where that hit me. And that and the artwork, it's cool, but it's also, I don't know. It's one of those ones that it's very hard where it doesn't jump off the like page. Like, even if you're looking at all their albums together, like on, my friend got me for Christmas once a blanket with all the album covers all over it. Right. Mm. When you hold that up, that one almost just fades into the background and you almost don't even see that it's there.
Right. But that's kind of how
the colors are so much the same.
It's very match, but I get what you're saying.
I gave it a higher score with the art, just because it goes with. I understand that it's like dull, but it's like it goes with the music.
The whole thing is
I
like
gotta give
but
it.
even at that, it wasn't.
something,
I didn't. It's not like I gave it a 1, 2, or a 3. It just was definitely the lower point.
Oh, I gave
comparison.
it a 9.
Yeah, what did I give?
Yeah,
for
again,
art?
that's why this stuff is all subjective. But
Yeah,
I
give it
did
8.
find it interesting that it tied completely with me for 17 seconds. So
yeah, and I guess we'll explain at the end. But if we got ties, I approached it. I had a few ties around the middle ones, and then I just went for kind of personal, whatever I liked more. Not really based on anything. If you get a tie, as far as putting them in the ranking, So,
yeah. Well, I feel like I had to. For me, the tiebreaker for me, and I went, I looked at it, was re-listenability, and for me that was 17 seconds. So since they were tied, because there was a balance of the numbers, when I've got to put them in there, if they're tied, that to me was the tiebreaker.
Okay.
So that's what put 17 seconds just probably 0.5 above Faith for me.
Sounds good.
So when we get
the artwork
to that
is just is just a huge surprise to me. Like
it's funny because I was kind of harder on 17 seconds because of that, because it's kind of like it does match the songs too, but at the same time I'm kind of like, it's just a blurry photo. I mean, it's cool because I associate it with 17 seconds, but if I was looking at that album cover, I'm like, it's kind of a shitty album cover, really. I mean, but it works because the songs fit that, But Faith, I feel like it does kind of really complement, because the whole thing kind of feels like when you're just in a daze from whatever, See,
I think I was putting it more, for me, I think I was putting it more up against the other album artwork. Yeah. So I think that's where I think it skewed my, because even though we have multiple like explanations of this category, we're all going to kind of think of it slightly different. You know what I mean? So I think to me, I was putting it, I had to rank it like lower than some of the other ones that I think are better album covers, because I'm like, well, I can't give it higher than that when I give this one this. So that's kind of where it dropped for me.
Yeah, I just thought with the burnt down church in the background, with like the faith aspect to it was like cool artistically. So like there's a lot more in the font. I mean, the font is that the best Cure font? I think a lot of people argue that it is. So
that is a favorite of a lot of people.
The drop C. I just I like it's I don't know. I'm gonna die on this goddamn hill.
Do it.
So cool. Pornography. I got a 72 for pornography.
Awesome.
It was like kicking the balls.
But I mean, if you look at it versus Faith, obviously it is 11 points higher than that. So again, I was more critical. So, 70s are a lot higher for me, like in that portion of things. And its highs are re-listenability, opening and closing tracks I have up there pretty high for me. I love that. I mean, the lows wasn't even a major low. Would just be production, because there are some points in the mix that are, and the mastering, that are just a little like cloudy, so just some it definitely, its original version needed tweaks from an audio standpoint, because even if I put on Faith and Pornography back to back, which still, which are a very much clump, the way that it sounds in the headphones, and just distinguishing between the different instruments and sounds going on, is a little more like too washed and blurred than Faith. I find Faith a little bit crisper in that balance. So that kind of like gave it that's my biggest kind of, I think, issue with it. I love the artwork. That was, kind of, right below the highs, but and it's Pornography. I mean, it's still ranked high for me. But
what you got, Chaz?
This is my first 90 plus.
All right.
So I have this at 91%.
Nice.
Band lineup is a 10 again. I think what they're going for is great. I think it's iconic. Artwork I have a 10. I think everything with that, even like promotional material, it's still one of my favorite things to go through. Like all old photos and old, like when I was really doing my t-shirts shit.
Yeah.
Like that era was my favorite to go through. It was because it was mysterious too, because you still did not have a record with their face on it.
Yeah.
And this you get the mask. So, and I got it, like everything with that, because it goes with the originality and creativity with the artwork and everything. I got to give that a 10 on both of those.
Yeah.
My lowest scores were for re-listenability and production, both at an 8.
Okay.
So not terrible. I just
yeah.
It can get there's parts of the album that are rough to go through, especially if you're not in the right mental space.
Right.
So it is another depressing album, but it's probably my favorite out of those first few. So
right on.
Yeah, I was surprised it wasn't a little higher.
Yeah.
Just because of how much of a favorite that album is of mine.
It is funny with the numbers, the surprise factors that come in. We're like, oh yeah, I guess that's why it'll be fun to compare what we did before and after. So.
Yeah. Well, also, I know I didn't mention this, but my criteria, I didn't use another band. I kind of used the basis based on Disintegration being the Holy Grail. So I like, so that was kind of like where my thought process was at. So that, I think that's also why my scores may be a little bit more harsh and lower, because I'm only comparing it within it. I feel like I just put it only in that tunnel. Like no other music exists except for the Killer.
I'm leaving room around the top just for Disintegration to just cover all of it.
Yeah.
So again, I kind of cut a little in between you guys there. I had Pornography at 78. So 1 point lower than Faith, actually. A little foreshadowing there. But only because, it is that kind of harsher angle to the same problem, really, and I'll always go with the mopey more than the angry. It's just my personality. I'm more of the whimpering in the corner kind of guy as opposed to smashing shit kind of dude, But,
You're more Kermit and less animal.
Yeah. Your ranking on that doesn't really surprise me. I know that we've always been on the opposite sides of that kind of thing, which is great for these rankings, because we'll get it, we'll figure it out. So
that being said, solid, 7, 8s, and 9s all the way through. 9 being Legacy, of course. So many people's, this one's usually right up there with Disintegration, is what angle you're taking with Cure, which is the inspiration of your band or whatever, So, so 9 there. Production, I actually gave it a 9 just because I really love our boy Phil working with Robert. I feel like they just had a vision and captured it wonderfully, even if it wasn't my preferred taste. I kind of probably like the Faith angle more, but I feel like they nailed this, and it just, fucking 1982, and it sounds like that, that's great. And a lot of that, is other factors. I guess the opening closing tracks, just because the song Pornography is kind of to me, I've never really been crazy about that one, so I feel like that loses there. But 100 Years is so good, that's almost a perfect opener, so it's a tough yin and yang.
I had a 9 on that just because of how good
just
100 Years is, and I'm just like, I can handle Pornography.
And it's kind of a cool closer because it is the crazy, just whatever the hell that's happening at the end. But
I mean, 100 Years might be one of the coolest fucking songs ever written. Like, it should, there's something like so like badass and awesome about that song.
So that was my highs, I guess. Was that another? Strangely, I put one of the lower ones a 7 for the songwriting, just because of that, like, more abstract with the lyrics. I felt like, well, he was hitting some like way beyond his years emotional shit with Faith, Pornography took more of the abstract angle of just randomly saying shit that you
it's
have
more
to
angsty.
Yeah, but it's like,
let's be honest, it was probably the drugs.
Yeah, total 100%. But embracing it that much, kind of like, you know, I'm sure there was some good drug use on all the other ones too. But yeah, this one just got into like flies and shit, you know, like,
hell yeah,
just dropping random pigs and I mean, which is great for interpretation and reading what you want into it. But at the same time, I'm like, this is a little, like you're saying, angsty, less mature than, you know, Faith for me. But but still super high and definitely up there. So what do we got after that? We're gonna skip Japanese Whispers for now and head straight into the top, which is always still kind of mind-boggling to think that the top was the next official album after Pornography. But I guess
this is you.
Me? All right. My highest ranking is a 8 with opener and closer. Shake Dog Shakes is amazing. Top is pretty cool. I think they have better closers, but it is a cool song. I like the song on the top. Then I have a lot of just solid 6s. So low point being artwork, a 2.
Interesting.
I don't dig the top art at all. Kind of fits, you know, so you got to give it a couple points for that because it is the psychedelic whatever that they're going for. Yeah. But I can't really get into it.
I give it a 4.
Okay.
I fucking hate that artwork.
4. See, 4 is my highest ranking on anything. On that
I went low on a few, so I had to balance out the overly highs with the overly lows. I gave it a couple 4s with the Legacy. Nobody ever talks about the top was the album that really inspired them to start making music or anything. You know, it's like whatever. And band lineup. Nothing personal with Robert playing everything except drums, but you know, there wasn't really a band there, so I couldn't really give it too high of a score.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, no Simon, no score.
There you go. Is that your 0?
So with band lineups, I really feel that like once you start at Robert Smith, it's got to start at a 5 to begin with.
True. Yeah, that's what's tough. But even for him, I don't feel like it was his best.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like I gave band lineup a 6 just because I'm like, all right.
I mean, if you are the only one doing anything, that's a pretty damn good Simon impersonation, at least. You know, Simon didn't have to totally rewrite everything when he came back in. You know, so. And and vocally he's great with it. He's a little all over the fucking place too much, but he's definitely charting new territory vocally on that album. But I just went a little below average just because I know how good the actual bands will be. Yes.
Yeah.
So, what'd you get, Antonio?
16.
Ooh, wow. That's
that feels bad.
That's kind of fucked up, man.
Bring on that top hate mail again. Here we go.
Exactly. I mean,
I thought I was the biggest hater on that album.
Actually, you guys are competing for your hatred of the top.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's like one track on the record that I like, and it does have Robert Smith, and I don't think the record cover sucks. That's the only reason why it's not at a 0. Because again, I can't give 0 to something that Robert's on. You know,
no zeros.
I mean, for Shake Dog Shake alone, it can't get a 0. And also it's like the opening track is good. It's the best track on the record. You know, like so it's like when I was looking at opening and closing tracks, so it's like it had to get a little bit for that. I mean, and there's I think anyone that's listened to any episode knows that.
Yeah, I think they're all tipped off by this point.
I mean, I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right. What about you, Chaz?
This one actually kind of surprised me. So 47.5.
Nice. It's close to mine.
Yeah. So my highest is going to be originality and creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was another thing that I had to give it points for because definitely original doesn't mean I have to like it, but it's definitely
I had to be honest and I gave it a 7. So and the low point emotional and personal impact I put it at 3. As far as opening, because there are some songs on there that I really do like, and there's some that have actually grown on me.
Yeah.
But a 3 is the best I'll give it. The opening and closing tracks, I think Shake Dog Shake is almost as perfect an opening track that you can give an album. So I automatically put that at a 5. So it's got to be at a 5. And then I gave the top a 1.5. So it came out to 6.5. Yeah, that's the best and the worst on that one. But I was surprised. I thought it was going to be in the 30s with me. But like, if I was really judging it honestly with myself, it's not the worst of their albums. So I'm surprised. So
cool. But, we're all learning new things here today.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Chaz next.
Yes.
All right.
Whoa.
What do we got? We're up to
I got the big boy here.
Yeah, the birthday boy.
We got Head on the Door here, and this is another 98 plus album for me.
Oh yeah.
This is a 95.
5%.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Up there.
Okay.
Man. So many 10s in this one. Re-listenability.
Yeah.
I can go through that album. Like, I listened to it like 3 times the other day at work when I was working, like cleaning and everything. And I was like, whoa, like I fucking listened to Screw this many times. Okay. But with that, I give Cohesion and Flow 8. Yeah. Just because of like Screw. And songwriting, I gave an 8 also. But artwork, that's a 10. Right. Band lineup, I think it's the best band lineup that they have. That's a 10. Opening and closing tracks, 10. Like so I'm like Legacy. I could listen, like if they were saying we're playing Head on the Door front to back, I would probably buy as many shows that I could go see. Yeah. But yeah, I think just about everything on this album is a 10 except for original creativity. I give it a 9. There's some stuff in there, especially like with Screw. Like that's the one song I'm just like, God damn, if you could have switched that out with even one of the B-sides you would have probably next to Disintegration the most perfect album that they could.
It's almost like they're like, we don't want this one to be our perfect album, so let's just
So that's kind of like what I said in my Head on the Door note. Same thing for me. Like if you'd swapped out a couple of those songs for a couple of their B-sides, it would shoot that up so far in my ranking. Like so far.
Which we didn't put B-sides in here for a reason.
Because a couple of these albums, and it's like if you weigh in the B-sides, that would totally change the full package.
100%. Yeah.
So I think it's up there in my top 5 ranking. Yeah. And it pretty much I think that's the one album that has grown on me the most since I started listening to The Cure, because I was like, too much pop.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, no, this is brilliant. Yeah. So, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Antonio, where's yours compared to that?
So, mine is at a 78. So on my ranking, that is very,
pretty good.
Very high, and it landed, in my top 4. So I find it funny because by this ranking, it definitely ranks higher than I would put it if I just blindly ranked the album. So it was a little bit it was eye-opening to me because I was a little critical of it as of late, and this used to be definitely my like number 2 Cure album, but just as my fandom grew and as I listened to more and more of the other records, that kind of changed. Like I said, if we did this in 2 years, we might have different opinions as well. So it all depends on just kind of what's going through and how it hits you. But yeah, I mean, again, very high up on this. The highs and lows is definitely the band lineup, songwriting, opening and closing tracks. I mean, it's just it is a fucking great record. And this is where where it dipped a little bit in re-listenability, and not because it's not re-listenable, but I think because in the last 5 years or 4 years of my life, I listened to it less than I used to listen to it. Like 15 years ago, it was always in my rotation. but again, that doesn't mean, like, so it's like that got dinged a little bit because I'm thinking of like right now, like in the last couple of years, how much have I put it on front to back in comparison to the other albums? Right. And it hasn't been as much as it used to be, but I think it's only because I've grown to appreciate some of the other records more, that they've sat with me. And that's not even a bad ding. Again, for me, this was a very, very high score. So 78.
Right on. Yeah, it's funny, just even the drastic differences between the final numbers, but when you look at how we're ranking them, we're kind of still going.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It seems low, but when you put it in perspective, it's in my top 4. So
yeah, it's funny. Yeah, mine's high on this one too. In between you guys, though, surprisingly, 93% I gave it. But when I'm looking at the individual scores of it, it's all 9s and 10s. So
like everything was kind of averaged high for me on this one, but high for
your bracket. Yeah. That's why school's tough, it all depends on the teacher and how you're graded.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
But yeah, so 93, solid favorite, no secret there. 10s I gave it, let's see, Ted I gave re-listenability just because it for some reason hasn't gotten old to me. Then it's doing something right. But the one of the lower ones, I guess, would be cohesion and flow for the sequence, because it does have that weird, still always hangs me up a little bit, that Kyoto song and Blood are that quick in the album. I'm fine with them being on the album, but they should probably be like at 8, 7 and 8, or something.
I think that's one of, again, I think that's one of the things that always dings that album for me. Because it starts out great, and then I'm like, all right, and now we get to this point, and I have to wait for the grade.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even cool with those. I love those songs, but yeah, they're just a little weird too soon. But other 10s, artwork, and opening and closing, of course, with In Between Days and Sinking. That's pretty much perfect. Even though it's a weird, like opener, like I talked about in the last episode of In Between Days. I think it's the only time they've opened with a pop single, on an album. So it's strange, but that drum roll is fucking amazing and comes out blazing. You can't not get excited. It's right up there with Just Like Heaven. When you're anywhere and you hear that boom, 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 like, totally into it. So near perfect, but not quite there. A little, again, foreshadowing of where it may fall on my list. So
I think with the way it goes, I'm so alive, and then the last track is like I'm fucking dead, is like the perfect swing of that album that I love so much, and like the bipolar nature of myself that's just like this is like perfect for me. So which I didn't realize until later on in my Cure fandom, and I was just like, wow, this album is so me.
And again, this is another one when we talk about same thing with pornography, where people I get a lot that this is people's favorite Cure album. And and it's one of there are some where I'll look at you like, did you just really, that's your favorite, and be super judgmental. But there are certain Cure albums where I'm like, no, I get it.
I'd be like, right on, man.
It's arguable. Like 100%. Totally, and this is definitely one of those albums. Head on the Door is like, if someone tells me that's their favorite Cure record, I'm not going, you're not a Cure fan. Right. You clearly don't listen to all the records.
Let's talk.
But if someone says Wild Mood Swings is their favorite, I'm like, really?
Cool, but weird.
Okay. That's your favorite. Did you listen to any of the other ones?
Yeah. Like, okay, what happened to you during that album? It must be a personal thing. So, cool. All right. Moving on then, we start getting into the golden era. So after Head on the Door, we got Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. I guess I'll do that one. I got 69 for Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Not intentional, I swear. This was another surprising one. We'll get into the final thoughts there, but when rating it versus my initial, gut feeling where I would put it. But 69, so dropping back on this one. But looking at it, it's got some 9s in there for lineup. Legacy, I feel like this is where a lot of people got on board with The Cure, and a lot of solid 8s. I got re-listenability. It's pretty high up there. I always throw it on because there is so much to kind of wade through. Songwriting, just because it's diverse with the creativity too. Like, just definitely trying some new shit, but working it into reasonable expectations. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff. My lowest 6 for the opening and closing. I think that's due to Fight, which I've expressed on here before. I'm not a huge fan of the song Fight. So the Kiss I'm cool with. So yeah, that about sums it up. What about you? Do you want to go next, Chaz? We'll go a little
yeah. So Gavin and I were right on the same path with this one, because I got a 69 also.
Oh, everyone's going 69 for Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me.
I was like, oh shit. Like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, I didn't mean to do that. I just chuckled when I calculated the number.
Yeah, me too. I was like, I swear it wasn't.
Yeah, so the high points on this one for me is emotional and personal impact. Just because it was one of the first Cure albums I got into. My wife and I, like, she bought it for me when we first met, because my ex had taken my other copy. So, like, that holds a personal part in my life. So
what a bitch.
Yeah, seriously. How dare my wife buy that for me?
No, I meant your ex.
Yeah. Yeah. She also took my Bad Brains Rock for Light album and Quickness original pressings. So yeah. Anyway, so band lineup, even though it's the same lineup, I gave it a 9. Just because they definitely weren't utilized to their fullest ability. I think they were too drunk. I give my lowest score was opening and closing tracks. I gave it a 4. I gave a 3 to the Kiss and 1 to Fight. So 69.
Right on.
Nice.
About you, Antonio?
All right. Kiss me. 73.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right.
I was shocked by this. It did put it into my top 5. I'm gonna say that. Right. This is one of the ones that was a big surprise for me by using this ranking. I was like, really? I do love the album artwork, so that like pushed it really high for me. It works for them. I have it also very much up there in songwriting, because as much as I can ding it for like the not better songs on it, the great songs on it are like, are beyond well written. Like, I mean, it exceeds, like I couldn't ding it for, obvious track reasons, like for real,
I felt like I had to make a conscious effort to not single out Just Like Heaven and Catch. You know what I mean? Like, it was like you really could probably just give it all 10s just because of Just Like Heaven, but at the same time,
but also,
we are talking about album, so.
Yeah, and also like I said, the songs that are written great, and because there are also more songs on this record, so it's it's gonna get a more credit. Like, I thought it was gonna get shit on a little bit more. I thought I would. But this one is also another one that's like, I think the stuff on it that I didn't love has grown on me so much more in the years. I do think it does lack a little bit for me in the cohesion and flow, because of some of the other, like, I feel like there's filler on this album because they made it a double album. So, it definitely got dinged there. I do like the production on it. There is a polish. I think it's one of the more. I think it's one of the better. Like, we're still sounding raw and fucking punk, but we're also sounding polished and poppy at the same time, which I kind of like. So, because it doesn't sound overproduced,
right?
And it doesn't, but it also doesn't sound like dog shit, right. So I think it works for it, But this one was a huge surprise to me in where it fell.
The album's too long. I think everybody agrees with that. If we subtract Just Like Heaven and Catch off this album gets like a 10, or like a 20.
I don't know. There's still tracks I love on
1,000
this
hours.
I know
One
they're like two of the best tracks I think they've ever written.
Yeah.
But I think if you take, because the album's too long, if you take 2 songs off of this album and they so happen to be those 2, I think this album like just absolutely bombs. Like I think it goes right down in the, like I'm talking about the rankings, not with like the fans, or I think with this ranking, I think it goes all the way down to like the 30s or
this was
lower.
a real hard one too to not think about the B-sides, because I love those B-sides so much. And I'm like,
which is so fucking frustrating with this album.
Yeah, but like and you know, and I know it's like, you know, song like You're Not Crazy, but like I love Why Can't I Be You? Like
I do too.
Fucking love that song. And Hot 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 is one of those songs like when it comes on, and if I'm like putting it on in my house and I'm like just doing chores and shit, I'll find myself like fucking dancing with my dogs, and I'm like, all right, no one's watching, right?
Yeah,
you know, I don't know. And other songs like have grown on me so much over the years. I definitely felt that way, I think, like a decade ago.
Yeah.
But today, for some reason, like a lot of this one hits me like a little bit more. And yeah, it ended up in my top 5 by this ranking, you know. But again, like very, very, you know, the unfair skews to this one are, you know, like artwork and stuff like that. Like you can't, you know, so that shot it up. I think that leapfrogged it over like 2 records for me because of where if the album cover wasn't like, for some reason I love this album cover. I mean, it just screams The Cure, obviously. Like, I don't know.
It captures everything.
So it's like that's a little bit of unfair advantage for it to jump into the top 5 because of that. But if going by these rankings, that's where it hit, you know?
Very cool. All right. We got the big boy coming up next. Disintegration. Where are we at as far as
I think it's Antonio.
Is it Antonio? Disintegration. How's this album fit? This should be quick.
It's the only one that got 100.
Yeah.
I can't shit on one thing on this record. It's my favorite record of all time. It's my favorite Cure record. It is utterly perfect. The way that it starts, the way that it ends, the way that it makes me feel. It is influenced more fucking... All right, so when I think of most influential albums of all time, okay, you know, obviously everybody is going to go to, you know, like Nirvana and, you know, like this, that, and I'm like, okay. But the difference for me with Disintegration and its impact on the music industry is it has influenced everyone, like every kind of genre. There are singer-songwriters that say that this is the album that made them want to play music. There are punk bands and hardcore bands that it's their favorite record. There are, you know, obviously, you know, like goth and post-punk people, it's the Holy Grail record. It exceeds genre like more than every other big influential record. Like, you know, I put it up like Disintegration and Pet Sounds probably have influenced more genres, you know, as a record than any of the other like big, like if you look at the top 10 most influential records of all time by like Rolling Stone, to me, the big difference with Disintegration is that it exceeded genre, and people from all walks of like music that like music, it influenced a generation of musicians.
When you have Adele and then you have
exactly
like a death, like a there was a Curism. It was a Cure covered black metal band.
Yeah.
And like doing the same songs because like they've reached each of them the same way. Like it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. It's the most beautiful, emotional, like, you know, sonically sounding amazing. You know, you put it on in headphones, like good headphones, and it's euphoric. I mean, it's just, it's the perfect drug. I mean, I could praise this album all day, but I'll move on because I know you guys are going to say a lot of the same shit.
Nah, bro. What about you, Chaz?
I have a 99.
Oh, I love it.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So, that's
The only dings I give this on is I got a 9.5 for cohesion and flow.
Okay.
I think it's just when it comes to some of, you go into love song to last dance to lullaby, it's just a little, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
coming up for air.
Yeah, a little bit like
you just
that.
want to stay under.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I gave it on that. And then opening and closing tracks, just Untitled. It isn't my favorite closing track. I feel like they probably should have just gone with Disintegration.
Yeah,
as the closing track.
Weird one, but I love Untitled so much. But
I love it too.
Yeah, It's like, but yeah, as a closer, it is tough because I still have it. Or I listen to Disintegration, I'm like, God damn! If it ended like right after that, boom, that's the end of the album. That'd been pretty fucking powerful too. And just sorry to jump in on yours.
That just goes with the cohesion and flow kind of feeling with it, where I'm just like, God damn,
it is tough.
See, to me, I'm like, you could switch those two, and it definitely would make it like 150 for me.
Yeah, because I think Untitled, going from Same Deep Water to You into Untitled is like goosebumps, and then ending on Disintegration, and then it goes back into Plain Song. Like that kind of thought process to me, is that is absolutely genius. Like, Antonio, 150. Like,
exactly.
But the world of music could not handle it. Like, I think Robert realized that and was like, I'm gonna open up a portal.
It's like Gozer or something.
But I also feel like ending with Disintegration would have been like I think almost too emotionally impactful, that I feel like ending with Untitled was like a palate cleanser where you can kind of like now pull yourself out of the emotional roller coaster I just put you in so you can go on with your day. You know what I mean? Like that might have almost been the thought processes behind it.
But I'm going to say here that there's no album in this world that's going to get 100 from me. Just because this is the highest ranking an album's ever going to get from me. There's not going to be anything that's even like, I can't, like, there are, like you said, Pet Sounds, like that would be in the top 95 to 99 or 98 kind of area. But like, I have other albums, but like even an album like I did the Dinosaur Jr. album, like that's my favorite album of theirs, but it's not perfect. It's going to be in the 90s, but it's not going to get to the 97, 98%. So
it is kind of crazy. When I was thinking of this, I was like, well, what other bands that I like love to death, like, but what would be their perfect album? And like you're saying, even those I probably wouldn't give 100 to the way I did Disintegration. You know what I mean? There is little things.
Well, I feel like you always have to have the top of the mountain. So you know what I mean? So I feel like I have to give, Disintegration is what I compare every other music song that I listen to, an album that I listen to, so I was like, if it's as close as perfect to possible, because it's the best one, what I think is the best, then it has to be 100 to me. Because it's the top of my scale. You know what I mean? Like, because then that's to say that there is no perfection, but perfection is different for everybody. So to me, I'm like, well, if I think it's the most perfect record I've ever heard, then it's the top of the scale, so it has to be 100. I think that was my thought process, because there's no other album I would put over it in my life that I've ever heard. So I'm like, well, then I guess it has to be 100.
I feel like I'm giving wiggle room for some artist out there.
Like someday somebody can still,
to somehow in this wild fever dream to take that extra point step up. But like, if I'm being honest and critical, like as we're doing this, that 9.5 for opening and closing tracks, and the cohesion and flow with that, that's the thing that dings it. Like it might be at 99.9 if I'm going to be honest, but
right, yeah.
I'm trying to be, not as confusing as possible,
Sure.
but it's like a 9.5 is.
You're just that teacher that'll never give the A+. It's always an A. You're like, fuck you.
What are we gonna do?
The margins, your punctuation. But like I think it's one of the great, like if you're gonna list greatest albums ever, it's up there as far as impact on my life. I can't give it more than a 10. I wish I could. So like it's like the chest burster and an Alien. It's just like it's got to go somewhere, and like, but I can't. Like, if I could, I'd let it burst out of me how important this album is to me. But I can't. So it gets a 10. I think production. I can listen to this album over and over and over again, and I've never ever said like, "Whoa, let's put something else on." Like I'm never like I'm bored with this.
All right. Mine no real need to dive in. Everything what you guys said pretty much. Disintegration. Like we said, even before we started, I knew it was going to be kind of what Antonio was saying, my perfect score to base the rest on, but the funny part was knowing I was going to give it all 10s, more even as a joke. But then when I actually looked at every category, I'm like, no, that is legit 10. That is legit 10. The only thing I could see to add to what you guys said was some people don't like the artwork. I think it's my favorite Cure album cover, but it might be because I just can't disassociate it with I just can't physically not think of the album when I see that. I think it's fucking great. He's coming up from below. He's drowning. However you want to look at it. I think it matches perfectly. I love the color tones match the songs, but I've heard people say that they hate the album cover because it's got his face on it too much.
I could see that.
Like it looks great as a poster. Like you could hang that vinyl on the wall, and and people that don't know shit about music could be like, oh, that's really nice.
That's cool. Yeah, it's like the whole album where it's dark and weird, but at the same time it breaks through enough where it can be their most popular album and still have that cover.
It's the first album that features any of the like band members on the front of it, right?
Like a clear actual picture.
Because
I think that's what a lot of people had problem with that. Like this is the first album that clearly they're trying to break through too much, but whatever. Not my opinion. So just straight 10s all the way through. What can you say? It's perfect. All right. After Disintegration, we have Wish, another big dog. So I forget where we left off. So maybe I'll take Chaz. I think it was you, right? Because Antonio had Disintegration.
All right. Wish, I have an 85, which is 85. So my low points on this are songwriting. I have an 8.
Okay.
Lyrics and music. This is, Friday I'm in Love. It's just like, okay, it's bubblegum. It's interesting, but at the same time, it's like I don't think it's their best writing over the whole entire album. My feelings about Wendy Time. That totally hurts the flow of the album. Artwork, I gave a 9. Just because I think when you get the vinyl, it gets blown out. And it gets a little pixelated. So that hurts it a little bit, and not everybody's a big fan of all the C's. I know a lot of people have it tattooed on them and everything. I get it. It's not my favorite font, but it's pretty cool, I guess. Opening and closing tracks got an 8 also. I think it starts off great. I'm not too. It's like they're both 4s to me. So as far as opening and closing go with the Cure, if I'm measuring them up to the other ones, but Legacy got a 9. Everybody loves that album. Wendy Time, again, you take that out and put one of the B-sides on, I think you have as close. I think that's going to go up into the 90s with me. Like just about everything will go up. Re-listenability, cohesion and flow, songwriting. But yeah. So band lineup got a 9. I don't know why. I just
they were really after Disintegration on their stride there. So whether I think everybody's, even if it was kind of beat down or tired or just running on autopilot at that point, they were just so tight together by that point.
Yeah.
It's like,
so Wish came out to an 80 for me.
Okay.
And this was the one where I had 2.5s and then it balanced itself out. So, cool. And then I think high point for me, re-listenability. It's an album that, never like lost its rotating factor for me. As far as The Cure goes, it was, early in my Cure fandom, as far as like full albums went, it was like always getting played once I got out of, because, my first introduction was, a compilation. So, but as far as like full albums, went, like, I think there's just so much candy on it that it's, as a young individual, you're just, I was just fucking loving it. I think it does have cohesion and flow. Originally and creative, is also up there. Mostly I have like a shit ton of 8s, you know what I mean? Like, so nothing was like a mega low point. Like, I think everything kind of hovered around 7.5 to 9 for me on this record. So that's where I kind of, got that one. And I've never been, I don't apologize for Wish always have been in my like top records for The Cure. Like, I love the poppy part of them as much as I love the sad part. So this one's always been for me. And I think I like the quirkiness to the artwork and the font and everything for this record, because I think it matches the album so perfectly. And it may not be my favorite, but it's also one of the more recognizable if you're really far from someone wearing a Cure shirt and it is Wish based, know it's Wish based before you even get remotely close to them.
True.
So it does help as far as like being super recognizable to the record. So it hits for me. Yeah.
Cool. I'm in the middle again, 82. So, which it's going to be up there. But
wait, did I have the high score here on this one?
You did, yeah.
That's surprising. I'm surprised about that one.
Yeah, this is a weird one for me where it's shuffled around a little bit over the years. I mean, it's still way up there, but yeah, it's kind of, I've seen the pluses and minuses. I always have a strong emotional attachment to it, which is the 9 for me. I didn't give it 10s. I think I was just backing off to leave room for Disintegration for a lot of it. But it's way up there. Lots of strong 9s for sure. The lowest I gave it was probably strangely enough originality, just because I kind of felt like, knowing that the band was kind of winding down this era, I felt like they were, like we were saying, just kind of, they could crank a lot of this out.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell how much, even like Friday I'm in Love being the example of a pop song that's maybe not as most creative or like clever, but at the same time it's fucking great and catchy as shit. So like, he's kind of on autopilot. Maybe some of the lyrics, even, it's kind of like a part, as powerful and great as they are, I feel like Robert could probably write a lot of that kind of stuff standing on his head. It's like just telling some sad story, but you don't really know how personal it is. So, but yeah, with that kind of thing, let's see, 9s for re-listenability, of course, even production. I'm totally happy with the production. 9 for lineup, like you said. But then 8 for the artwork is weird because it is kind of 90s looking when you really look at it, but I like it, and I think I just love it and associate it with the time and the cool. So it's hard to separate that again, but I like it. But it does look kind of like, I've had days where I look at it, I'm like, oh, this looks like total 90s shit, but at the same time, I like it. So yeah, not too much to go off of that then. Just a good solid
There you
B
go.
plus. So yeah, let's get into the later tiers now. We got after Wish, of course, Wild Mood Swings. I'm back down into the 50s for this one. 53, which doesn't sound, that low, but yeah. And as far as reasons why on the scoring, kind of all over the place, like Wild Mood Swings. Opening and closing track, I have a 9 because I love Want and Bear, So, got some good 7 for the lineup. I think the dudes all played great on it. Not the best, but definitely played their asses off. There's some good playing. Lowest would be flow, of course, cohesion and flow, just because some of those sequencing, if you want to blame sequencing, but even just the song choices just bumps back around, so much so that they made it the theme of the album because it's crazy. So, hard to go too high on that. 4s for, let's see, production. I gave a 4 too because it just didn't have the Dave Allen kind of way of making chaos fit somehow like he did even with Kiss Me. And Legacy, of course, nobody cites this as their favorite Cure album or anything like that. But yeah, 53, still good, solid.
I have it at 51.
1, okay. Yeah. So yeah, pretty close.
So I have high point is the art. High point is actually the artwork. Yeah.
Okay.
I fucking love the artwork for this album. I think it's one of their best.
Yeah, me too.
I think there's a lot to work with on it. The toys are a brilliant idea. I think the font's great. It's an improvement on the Wish font. I think so anyway. And opening and closing tracks got an 8. So that was another high point. I think Want and Bear go great together. I gave Want a 5 and Bear 3. So I'm going to give it 3.5. But yeah, low points, cohesion and flow, and legacy and re-listenability are the lowest points. Unfortunately. So, but again, we don't have B-sides really to fall back on.
Yeah, that's a huge plus for me. So we can't factor those in.
Yeah. Because it almost feels like a collection of B-sides because there is
this
connection with a lot of it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Awesome. All right, Antonio.
Kind of, I'm right in that vein with you guys. I'm at a 59. Definitely one of my favorite artworks for sure. Without a doubt. For me, I think it stands out the most. It gets dinged heavily for cohesion and flow for me because it does not, and I think rightfully so, because this is kind of also a mixed, bag of tricks with production, because you just hear all these stories about, how they were kind of using this recording to try out drummers, which I think, I might have hurt some of the songs.
And
it does have
the final mixes.
Exactly.
So that's gonna hurt.
It definitely so it hurts it. And then the other big thing because of that is band lineup. Because there was no, this is where Jason did become the drummer, but he wasn't fully on it. He wasn't a part of the writing process.
Yeah.
So it's not quite there yet. And just sad for him that this kind of went into a darker era of not the best records. When he came in for such a talented drummer that he is, it kind of sucks for him. But I do think, without saying too much, Songs of a Lost World, I think is a big redemption time for him and his legacy as a Cure drummer. Yeah. But so it sits at 59. I do still, enjoy putting this record on, but there are very much skippable stuff, and I have to be in a certain mood to listen to it, as well, where some of the other ones, it's doesn't matter if I'm happy, sad, mad, I can put it on, but this one needs to be, very specific.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Moving on from there, we got Blood Flowers. And Antonio, what'd you get for Blood Flowers?
Blood Flowers has a 32.
32. Oh my goodness. Okay.
It's where did Blood Flowers? Yeah. I mean, this record just for me like doesn't have an emotional impact. The cohesion and flow is not really there. I think it's high points for me. I do think there is good production on this record. Mm-hmm. You know, if I've got to just, you know, it's not about the songs, it's about, you know, like sonically, you know, how it sounds. And then also, I actually don't mind the artwork on this album. I think it again kind of stands out. I don't hate it. I kind of like the look of Robert on it, like just, you know, like it's this like moodiness, weirdness to it, which does kind of fit the album if you like it, you know, like. But yeah, it's just you know, it's kind of middle of the road. I mean, I don't know what to say.
How about you,
Try
Chaz?
not to be too negative, you know.
Yeah, we can blow through these fairly.
It is a 39.
39. Oh.
Okay, see, now I don't feel so bad.
Just like the song.
Because I'm a super critical one. All right, good. I was afraid I was going to get attacked.
Again, this is again not one of my favorites. Legacy is like these are my threes. Legacy, artwork. The artwork, I think it's trying to take off of Disintegration, and it fucking sucks to me. The font is fucking terrible, and I don't like. It's very like Gavin and I, when we went over this on a past episode, I broke out the vinyl and he broke out the CD, and like. You can't make out anything inside the album that you're supposed to. So it's terrible.
Pixelated.
It's so pixelated, and and
you
also,
know what's funny? I feel like I listened to it so infrequently that I didn't even notice that. Like,
emotional personal impact got a 3, and re-listenability got a 3. The highest point I gave it was band lineup, just because I gave it a 6, just because you're starting with Robert Smith, so it's got to be worth 4 or 5 points. So you still have Simon. So it's just, but it's pretty much, isn't it pretty much just a Robert record again?
I think
so.
There's other examples, but that definitely he's running with this one concept wise, you know.
Yeah.
So, mine's higher than you guys.
Yeah, I know that it holds a higher place in your life than.
But it's 53, which is
okay.
That it is the same score as Wild Mood Swings, but for different reasons, you know, like or the things I took away from Wild Mood Swings in the sense that it wasn't cohesive. This I feel like is at least a sort of cohesive album sound wise and stuff, and like you're saying, production, I gave it points for that, but the sequencing sucks. I hate Watching Me Fall being the second track is a horrible idea. It's like
so watch the CD fall out of my
watch me fall out of
trash.
Interest. I'm like already bored by the time I got to track 5, but it does pick up and it has improved a lot over the years. It was weird that it tied with that, but so high points would be opening and closing tracks but only with an 8, really. 8's the highest it got in any of them. I like Out of This World and the song Blood Flowers are cool, but, the lineup, like we said, with Wild Mood Swings, it was just getting a rebuilding year, but this took it, you know, they're tight and they sound good together, but it is mostly just Robert doing everything or calling the shots anyway. 7 for production. Low point being the artwork. I gave it a 3. I like the idea. It wasn't the concept so much, and the colors are the white and red are cool, but it's just so pixelated. My first computer, you know, or something. It's just like some kind of bad program, whatever they're using. It just doesn't look good, and the whole inside layout was just awful, but I'm just trying to go by actual cover mostly. And creativity, I felt like they're playing it safe, you know, like you're saying, he's kind of just trying to tap back into old Cure darkness, you know, and it was a little safe, but let's move on from there. What was next? We had self-titled. The first time I stuttered on my chronological order. I can't imagine why. Should I kick this one off, I guess?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, forgetting where we're at. But 30% for this one. So anyone that's been listening, not surprised by that probably. without beating a dead horse, the first time I'm giving some ones. We'll never give the Cure a 0 for anything, but 1 for re-listenability. I just never want to go down that road for some reason. Opening and closing tracks. I don't. 1 for the Lost is okay, but it falls apart midpoint. Promise is complete terrible song in my opinion. Legacy, I think it's going to be a 1. Nobody's going to be like, that was the band that I formed my band because of self-titled.
You'd be fucking I mean,
some new metal band in Iceland.
I mean, I know, like we said, people got into them there, but I think they quickly realized that it was not their best album. I think. Yeah. So, highest point was 6. I think 6 for band lineup and production. Yeah, as much as I bash Ross Robinson, I guess I should bash him more because of the production choices, but it sounds good. I mean, I never was like, those guitar tones sound fucking terrible or the drums sound terrible. I mean, everything sounds good.
Again, if you pulled Robert Smith out of this, shoved another singer in there and told me this was another band, I'd be like, okay, he did a good job on this record.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was the Cure, I'm like,
Cure.
You broke my shiny toy. You know?
So what'd you give it?
I gave it a 29.
29. Right on.
Yeah. So a 1 on opening and closing tracks. That's, I think, the only one I gave in this entire thing.
Yeah, me too.
Legacy, I gave it a 2. Artwork, I gave it a 2. And production, I gave it a 2. Yeah. I fucking hate Ross Robinson.
Just out of principle.
What he does, on principle. And the high point is just band lineup at a 5.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Antonio?
All right, I really wasn't fair. And I didn't judge this properly, and I don't give a shit. I gave it a 10. I just gave everything a 1 because it's the Cure. And I don't, this album does not sound like the Cure. So even with lineup, to me, it's like the lineup I don't think did their job, because it's like somebody should have stopped Robert, somebody should have stopped Ross, somebody should have spoke up,
said something.
You know what I mean? Like that was the time that Simon needed to go betrayal, and threaten to walk away. But it hurts me that this is a Cure record, because even with the top, I can, it's early. It doesn't have Simon. They're still experimenting. When you're all the way at the point that you're at, and you've got more than 10 albums, and this is what you give your fan base, it was like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
But I can't give them any zeros, so they're getting a 10 because I'm giving you 1 across the board.
There you go. I love that I gave it the highest score out of the thing.
Yeah, good job.
The 2 negative Nellies over here.
You got me. Damn it. All right. Chaz, what did you give it?
413. Yeah, I gave this a 55.
55. All right. Back in the 50s.
Low point, Legacy at a 3. I don't think this is anybody's favorite album, but I don't think it's like we did the episode on this. I don't think it's as bad as everybody gives it credit for. There's absolute dog shit in this, and like cohesion and flow, I gave it a 4. I think it starts off really well. I think it lands relatively okay, but it's just the middle in there kind of sucks. So artwork, I gave it a 7. I kind of like the artwork. It's not terrible. It's definitely not as bad as what they were doing before. And line up a 6, just any Robert Smith. And you got the
Pearl back in the mix.
So I probably could have gone higher with Pearl being in there, but but 6.
All right.
For me, it is getting a 35. So it is sitting a little bit above Blood Flowers for me. It does, its opening track is a Cure song that I absolutely adore. And that got most of the the decision making on it. I do like the lineup. No emotional impact. I mean, literally aside from the opening track,
right?
Which just really sad to me, because it is, I think, just such an amazing Cure track. And I think if it was on any other album, it would be talked about more.
Yeah.
But because it's a great song on a not great record, it just kind of gets lost.
Yeah.
But Underneath the Stars it is gorgeous, and to me, but I will say that it has grown on me more over the years as far as their later albums go. It's it's grown on me more, where Self-Titled hasn't grown on me more, and Bloodflowers hasn't. I have the same feeling from the day I listened to it, where 413, I think, but it has to be more like when I'm in the mood for, when I just need background music. Like I'm not putting it on and driving to it. I'm not, but yeah, so she's 35.
Cool. Yeah, we're back to me in the middle there. I gave it 37, which seems lower than it actually would be. I got a lot of 5s for it. We're just kind of, but middle of the Cure ranking. Low point being Legacy, of course. 2 production, I actually gave it a 2. I thought there are some like parts where like the vocals are just way too loud and the drums sound weird and shit. Just a lot of stuff I can't even put my finger on, but it just isn't like pleasant on the ears sounding, just like something in there is just like, and originality, I felt like they're playing it safe a bit with some of the pop songs, just sound Color by Numbers Cure a bit even, and stuff like that isn't really catchy, but it works because it's the Cure. But high points being the 5s, and just kind of like lineup and artwork. So and songwriting's just kind of like 5 Cure, it's not really there. But so 37, keeping it out of the bottom enough to keep it from the last. All right, and the final Cure album, Songs of a Lost World, we bounce back into probably numbers we're more comfortable with here, talking about. So who do we have kicking off that one?
I think Antonio.
Antonio? All right. Songs of a Lost World.
Songs of a Lost World. Definitely, this is a thing that I've been, toying around with in my head, and I kind of love the fact that this ranking system, did kind of put it there for me. Yeah. But 87.
87. All right.
Very high score for me. And I'm glad we did wait on this one and do it a little bit longer, because the initial like Christmas morning excitement, like when you get a new toy, it's the greatest toy ever, and then it just sits in the corner. Songs of a Lost World didn't do that. It didn't become the shitty Christmas toy.
Right.
It's still a toy that I'm taking off the shelf and playing with nonstop. It's high points for me. Our opening and closing track is a chef's kiss.
Yeah.
That's a 10 right there. Without a doubt. I mean, emotional impact, 9. I mean, obviously a lot of 9s because of how high this sits. I think the lowest point for me is album artwork. Brought it down. It, is kind of what it brought it down there. But I mean, it's got cohesion and flow. The songwriting is beautiful. I wish it was a little bit longer. But then again, when I do listen to it, I don't feel like, I do feel fulfilled. So you don't want
to beat a dead horse with it. Yeah, if they just kept throwing more sad shit on there.
You also do have the tendency to have that one that does fuck it up.
Yeah.
If you shove a couple more on there. And I think the fact that it does have such a cohesive flow, that it's very easy to throw that off kilter and not be true to the feeling of the album, that could have tipped it in another direction. So this one landed it really high up in my Cure ranking, after breaking it down this way, and made me feel good about how much I really do love this album. Because again, it's like, I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna feel that way because it's just the last one that we got, and it helped undo the 3 not great ones you dropped before that. But when you break it down this way, in an honest opinion, it really did. I was like, okay, cool. All right. I really do feel this way about this record, and I can now stand on that hill, and I'm good with it.
Yeah. Okay. Songs of a Lost World. I give it a 73.
Whoa! Wow!
Wow.
So, it does have some strong nines. Let's see. I got for closing and opening track is the highest. Yeah, it's weird. It's up there, but at the same time, I didn't want to topple too many of the classic ones. I don't know if it's knocking. We'll get into that in the finals, I guess. So that kind of influenced it. But same time, yeah, they're all lots of 8s. Let's see, realist abilities, 8, cohesion's great, 8. I guess I'm just looking at it as like those are still good high scores, leaps and bounds better than the ones before it. But I'm trying to give it, like I said, distance from like Faith and comparing it to those kind of things. And
I tried to remove all of that and just
so maybe
go at it. And I was
Yeah.
like, because I think that is our tendency as Cure fanatics to like, can we really put this album so high up when they haven't had a high up in a very long time?
Yeah. Yeah, we want to make it, initially everyone's saying the best since Disintegration. So you're saying it's better than Wish and Head on the Door, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know if it's quite there, but I am putting it higher than I would have expected to ever. So, but yeah, lowest score was for artwork, even though it's cool, but it is just that fucking rock everywhere, It was like, okay. And the font was cool, but I kind of like the stuff leading up to it a bit more. Even the tour font was a little cooler, I thought, than the one that's on the actual album that just has the weird spacing. So yeah, just a lot of lower stuff for that. To a certain degree, originality. It isn't really breaking new ground for the Cure, so I couldn't give it a huge score for that, even though I liked that they were doing that. I'd rather them do that than try to make a fucking funk album or something, So just a solid 73, and we'll see where it fits in the grand scheme. How about you, Chaz?
I have it at 91.
91. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Okay. Now I feel like a real dick.
Yeah. No. In the words, Gavin, in the words of Jack Black and High Fidelity, very pussy.
And in High Fidelity, I could say it's an opinion. How can it be wrong?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How could he be wrong?
All right. So
high points and lows.
So low point, I'll go as artwork.
Yeah.
I think that's with everyone. It left a little bit to be desired compared to, for Cure artwork.
Yeah.
But high points, emotional and personal impact. I'm so surprised how much this album has meant to me, like at the time when it came out.
Same.
And it's still up there, and I still listen to it now, and I still get emotional and have thoughts about it. I even think about us together during that time.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
The whole build up and everything was great. Yeah, it was a very long build up.
Trying to get tickets, coordinating 3 dudes in 3 different states.
Yeah, I didn't take the tour into considerations. Shit.
Well, I know, but like that's
but it
still,
does lean into the emotional impact, I guess.
Yeah, that's like the personal impact.
I associate it with a hurricane, so I'm like,
oh, that's
maybe
right.
I'm not God.
Yeah.
Which is
there were days where I'm like, I hope he's alive.
Me too.
It's tough to grade Legacy, even though I gave it a 10. That one is the one I feel hard to give it that, even though I'm still giving it that. I think has it influenced other bands? I don't, like, up to this point we don't know, but I think on that same level, I think it's better than just about anything any band has ever put out in this time frame, like of our era, like even those last couple, you can just say the last couple years.
Right.
So I think that is going to lead to something. Has it aged well? Again, it's such a short time frame, but it hasn't fallen out of favor with me at all.
Yeah.
And
I also think as far as Legacy goes, like, let's be honest, as much as we don't want to say it, if that's going to be the last Cure record we ever get, they didn't disappoint us.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean.
not.
So
It's
that's
almost
I
too
think
good of
that's
an
what I was
ending,
thinking.
so.
That's what I was thinking too. Where I was like, if they called it quits tomorrow, like, and that's the last thing you gave me, I would be happy with that being the last thing you gave me. So that's why, even though it hasn't been around as long, when I was thinking legacy, I'm like, okay, I could go to sleep like happily with that if that was the fact, you know.
True.
Yeah. In holding up to their catalog, judging by my grading system, it's the best since Disintegration. Which I understand is hard to
I know that
to hear.
Yeah.
And
but this is what ranking helps, and it also is what three different minds help, because now when we add all these together, like, let's see where these all sit, you know, like when we tried to remove emotions, even though emotional impact was one of the 10, and we're just looking at it as, you know, the professionals that we are.
Totally scientifically. So, all right, well, let's do the final ranking then, see where it fits in the grand scheme of the whole list. What do you say?
All right, so we're starting at 14 and going up to
build
1?
suspense. Why not?
Yeah, self-titled, and that's where I thought it would be. So the top, then we go at 12, Blood Flowers. Also kind of where I thought it was going to be. The bottom is kind of not it is really not the shock to me.
Yeah.
Then at 11 we've got 413 Dream. Then at number 10 you've got 3 Imaginary Boys. Number 9, Wild Mood Swings. Number 8 we have Faith. Number 7, 17 Seconds. Number 6, Pornography. I did think this was going to be a little bit higher than 6.
Yeah.
This was one of the ones I was kind of like, oh, okay. And then 5, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Then at 4, we've got Head on the Door. And then only a couple points away from that, number 3 is Wish. And this, you know, this is the big shot. Well, shock, not shock. Songs of a Lost World sat at number 2 in my mathematics here. With Disintegration on the top. Yeah. Okay. So, you know, again, my pre-thought on Songs of a Lost World is like, do I really love it this much? And I was glad to like rank it this way, to be like, fuck, I really do. You know, and it's just funny because, you know, it wasn't drastically off, but you know, those were my big surprises there. You know, I definitely, you know, again, thought 17 Seconds would be a little bit higher. Pornography would be a little bit higher. Head on the Door, I just thought that I was kind of falling away from a little bit, but it still was up there at number 4. So it's just kind of, you know,
leaning pop, but your number 1 and 2 are pretty dark. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I know, right? So that's what's strange about it. It's like, I like the dark at the top and I like the pop in the middle.
There
like,
you go. Solid. Awesome. All right, Chaz, what's your countdown?
All right. From the bottom, I have the self-titled at 29. I have Blood Flowers at 39. The Top at 49.5. Then Wild Mood Swings at 51. And then 413 at 55, which is a little surprising to me. I thought they would be a little bit flipped there. But 3 Imaginary Boys at 57.5. Kiss Me at 70. There's quite a discrepancy between the bottom and where we're going now. Right. So 17 Seconds, I have it 71.5. And then going into the top here, the top of the, not the top, but the top of the ranking here, I have Wish at 85, Faith at 87.5. And then I have Songs of the Lost World and Pornography both at 91. And then I have Head on the Door and then Disintegration. So I was a little surprised when it came to Head on the Door and Pornography. I thought they would be switched. And Songs of a Lost World, I thought was going to be a little bit lower than it was.
Yeah, so you're number 4 with Songs of a Lost World?
Yeah, so, yeah, if you're going by chronological order, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Because Pornography would come before Lost World, so.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Nice surprises in there. Let's see, mine, I guess, diving into it. I've got self-titled at the bottom, like you guys. 413, I put next. Then surprising factor of 3 Imaginary Boys is actually 12th. When I would put Boys Don't Cry like close to the top 5 almost, but like I think that huge middle chunk really influenced it for me.
Yes, definitely.
And then Blood Flowers at 11, Wild Mood Swings at 10, and all 3 of those, that was an interesting finding because my number 9 is the top. So I had Blood Flowers, Wild Mood Swings, and top all got 53%. So I just ordered them as top, more sentimental value. Wild Mood Swings, more listens probably, and Blood Flowers.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I went with that.
You had 3 ties. All right.
Yeah,
I had
all 3.
Yeah.
Then I have 17 seconds at 8, which might be lower than a lot of people would put it, but you guys, it was about there too, I guess. And Kiss Me is lower than I thought. That would be at 7 for me. And then I have Songs of a Lost World slightly above Kiss Me. So that was I was surprised by, because when I did without ranking them, I had Kiss Me at like 6, I think. But when I did all the math for it, it bumped to 7, and then Songs of a Lost World I got at 6.
Yeah, really, that was my same thing too. Like Kiss Me ended up like 1 or 2 higher.
Yeah.
Then I would have put it for sure. But again, those little things.
And then, what everybody always talks about, the top 5, and I kind of felt like I just had to extend it out the top 6 by including Songs of the Lost World. I feel weird saying that I'm not loving it the way you guys did, but I really do. It's like top 6, but I just felt like I was saying earlier, I couldn't topple Pornography, which I'd have at 5, and then Faith I have at 4. Which is maybe a little weird that I do lean Faith over Pornography. But then the top 3, I got to have Wish, and 2 at Head on the Door, and Disintegration number 1, of course. But yeah, I think just Wish might have been my number 2 for many years, just because I felt like it was. And I feel like just over the years I've kind of like the condensed side of Head on the Door more, that kind of just does everything it needs to do, but in a shorter thing. So yeah, that's mine. We got some good comparisons. I guess that is one of the bigger takeaways, is that you guys have Songs of the Lost World in the top 5. We're running a little long here, so we don't want to beat the dead horse here. And, we are going to compile all ours numbers wise now that I have them, and we'll have the ultimate holy hour ranking. So yeah, lots of good stuff. We'll leave it there for the listeners to digest. Got some good shouting in at us that we're absurd or that you totally agree. But ultimately, there's no wrong ranking with Cure albums, I guess. Exactly. So awesome. So we'll let you guys go and let the listeners go out there. 300 episodes in the bag. All right, guys. Thanks for making this happen, and thanks to everybody out there. We'll leave you with that, with a big old talk hard, and see you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
All right, guys. Have a great day, buddy.
It's it. Thanks.
Laters.
All right, thank you so much, Chaz and Antonio, you guys, for listening. I know it's past curfew, your dad's gonna kill me, but I have one last list to rattle off for you guys. This is the combined all 3 scores that we came up with. We worked out the average, so technically this is the ultimate Holy Hour podcast ranking. All right, you ready? Coming in last is Self-Titled. Got 23% when we averaged all 3 of our scores together. Behind that, or ahead of that rather, at the 13 spot is The Top with 39%. I tried, guys. I tried getting it higher, but at 12 we have Blood Flowers with 41%. Slightly surprising, ahead of all those is 413 Dream, coming in at 11 with 42%. And ahead of 413 Dream, in 10 spot, we have 3 Imaginary Boys with 49%. At number 9, we have Wild Mood Swings with 54%. Ahead of Wild Mood Swings is 17 Seconds, coming in at the 8th spot with 66%. Coming in at 7 is Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me with 70%. And at 6, we have Faith with 76%. And in our top 5, we have number 5, Pornography, 80%. Surprised. I thought that would be higher. 4 is Wish with 82%. Number 3, Songs of a Lost World, is coming in at 84%, leaving the top 2 all-time Cure albums as The Head on the Door, Birthday Boy, 89%, and number 1, the reigning champion, Disintegration, with 99.6%. So there you have it, 1 through 14, as determined by the Holy Hour crew here. For now. So pretty true though, true to our 3 scores if you combine them, of course. So let us know how drastically different or similar your rankings come out to. You can use our rubric if you'd like. I'll post it on our Facebook page, and or come up with your own, whatever you want to do. But I'd be curious to see if you came up with a scoring system like this and what you got. Okay, due to time, I'm going to blaze through the closing credits here fast and say thank you to our devoted Patreon members, starting with Craig Cusamanio, who happens to also be running for Annapolis City Council representing Ward 6. Go to craigforward6.com to check out all his policies and donate and see where the status is of his campaign. We also have Donna and Jeff Hilton and Jeff Cortland Jones, Sue, John, Allison, Dion, Namicio, Matt Ford, Tom Burns, Letty, John Roberts, Jason, Tony, Ben, Matt Fisher, Danny, Coulter, Tom Johnson, Francisco, Arno, Chip, Amber, Nicholas, Shirley, Jason Hall, Steve, Mara, Caroline, Brian, Sean, Colin, and Jennifer. And of course, Kate at CureThreads.com, an online shop with tons of original Cure-inspired designs, and also over at Cure Arts Collab on Instagram. Of course, the unstoppable Scott Kroger of the Sarlacc Digest and All Star Wars podcast. You can watch their show every Wednesday evening live, 8 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube and Facebook, with replays everywhere that you stream podcasts. Dave runs the Obsessive Geek Etsy shop. It's packed full of cool products you will want to browse. Go on over to the Obsessive Geek on Etsy. Dana is a freelance animation, illustration, motion graphics designer, currently open to new ideas and projects, so come on over and check out her work at graphics.tv. That's graphics with an X. Tanya would like to spread awareness of 988lifeline.org, a suicide and crisis hotline with over 200 crisis call centers located all over the U.S. and available 24/7. Tim is part of New Waterloo, an independent hospitality, development, design, and management company. You can check them out at newwaterloo.com. Lisa recommends you visit Dickens up in Calgary, Canada. Dickens is having one of their epic Hang the DJ dance nights on September 13th. And this one you're going to not want to miss because it's Cure-focused. Hosted by Gray Cell. It's only $5 cover. Guaranteed to be a blast as you dance away the evening to all your favorite Cure jams. That's September 13th. It's a Saturday night, but you can get the full scoop at dickensyyc.com. Jessica wants to shout out clubnevermore.com if you're interested in finding out all the upcoming goth-related events in Little Rock, Arkansas area. And of course, Chaz's other podcast, The Excommunication Station, where he and Chrissy take on the evangelical church, drop a new episode every Wednesday. All right, thanks so much for hanging in there. If you've made it this far, you are a wonderful soul. And we've got at least 300 more episodes coming your way very soon. So subscribe, like, follow, drop me a message at gavinconner@gmail.com. But most importantly, go listen to some Cure. See you in 2 weeks. Talk hard.